2025 has been an incredible year for indie gaming. We've seen standout titles like Look Outside, a disgustingly beautiful horror JRPG, Schedule 1, a surprisingly deep weed simulator, and Claire Obscure Expedition 33, arguably one of the best games of the decade, developed by a team of just 30-some-odd dreamers. And then there's Blueprints, a roguelike puzzle game which officially dropped on April 10th of this year. But I actually played it way back in June of 2024 during Steam's Next Fest. Next Fest has become a tradition for me. Each year I set aside a week to play through around 100 indie demos. Over the past 4 years, it's helped me uncover some truly amazing and often overlooked gems. So today I want to share my favorite indie games of the year. I played a lot of weird stuff, a ton of bad stuff too. But my goal with this video isn't just to help you fill out your wish list. It's to highlight the incredible creativity and passion that still exists in this medium. To show you that gaming is not dying, and that the indie scene is alive with innovation and heart. And with that, let's begin.
Just a flesh wound.
Black Raven was by far the shortest great demo I played, lasting around 10 minutes. But even with its lack of gameplay to showcase, this game is showing up with a truly cinematic flair. This is the part that will sell most people, this dark brutality that emphasizes death and despair and that all the light in the world has faded from existence. Then, the dev drops this sick beat. Combat enemies by using your mouse to position your sword that can be used to defend against attacks or to position your own strikes. As you can tell, I struggled a little bit with sensitivity, but this is a demo, so assume this is still in the early stage. Or that I'm terrible at games. It's up to you. That being said, this game is gorgeous, and I wouldn't be surprised if this turned into a giant hit just off of these cinematics. Funny Raccoon Game is chaos. Pure, unadulterated, sexy chaos. The goal of this game is pretty simple. Fill your garbage can with useless stuff, and by useless stuff, I mean everything you can get your hands on. I mean, you can put a llama in there, this thing, but if you do, he'll shatter into a billion pieces and thereby actually killing him. You can even steal this comp's pistol, but the second you do, every cop car in existence will track you down and destroy you. It's weird, creative, funny, and feels so different from every other 3D Nintendo 64 nostalgia jerk-off platformer that comes in.
Hey, listen!
Now, based off of my last sentence, you may have an idea on what type of games I like, right? Wrong! Here's an Ocarina of Time clone. Azaran Islands of Jin is inspired by the N64 vibes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and my god, it succeeds. Everything from auto-jumping to the way the screen will zoom in on the door when it opens when solving a puzzle or beating a room of enemies, it literally reminds you of walking through the Great Deku Tree or Goron Mountain, or Lord Jabu Jabu, which is a fish god that eats you. Azaran has a pretty great boss fight where Pot of Greed is throwing bombs at you, and you have to pick them up and throw them into the boss. It was probably my favorite boss fight within the Next Fest. And just as I'm about to fight a giant ghost ship and finish the demo dungeon, it ends.
Clever girl.
Though, I get the concern. You look at this game and you feel like it's lacking some sort of small touch in the same way Ocarina of Time perfected. The way an enemy is lacking a piercing scream as you land the final blow, or how the UI looks too clean. But after playing this demo, there is something about it that screams quality, and that's in its gameplay. The puzzles are fun, the combat is solid, and the vibes are there. Meat Engine was the grade A indie boomer shooter that shows up in every Next Fest. There's always one I like to showcase, and Meat Engine is the wettest. The game exudes in this flesh punk aesthetic. I feel like I'm in the stomach of some planet-sized rotting space whale. The elevators are mounds of meat, and the enemies are these skin-stretched monstrosities that remind me of the Pale Man from Pan's Labyrinth. The best way I can describe the movement of this game is slippery. You get a slide that increases your momentum, and jumping makes you feel like you're jumping on the moon with more acceleration. There is a lot of platforming in this game, and the movement makes it possible, but very tedious when I begin to miss the same platform for the 15th time. However, this artwork, while repetitive, is beautiful. I mean, dude, look at the checkpoints. This game should be on every Lovecraftian horror FPS-loving gamer's wishlist right now. Windswept was by far the best 2D platformer in this demo, and it's not because you get to play as a baby duck, but because you get to play as a baby duck and a baby turtle. As the duck, you get a cool spin attack, but then you can use that spin to propel you forward to get a ton of air and momentum, and man, this game makes you feel fast. Fast as duck. It's a pun. The turtle doesn't have the same horizontal momentum, but it can be used as a bouncy platform, or thrown up into the air and then bounced off for even more height. This game has fun, cheery music, great pixel art, and a great awareness on how to make complex platform mechanics. And you play as a baby duck and a baby turtle. What other reason do you need?
Brother, may I have some oats?
Pigface is a mission-based stealth precision FPS about a hitman going around and murdering heroin addicts. Sold yet? The AI is a little sloppy, but gameplay feels supported by the fact that you are a twig in terms of constitution. You can probably only face off against 3 people max, but there's still a good chance you go down. Shooting in this game feels so satisfying. Bullets feel like lasers piercing into enemies. How abrupt the shotgun sounds makes it seem so callous. The mood hits this beautiful mid-2000s grunge druggy theme. Everything feels dirty while having an air of mystery around your employers. It's raw, uncomfortable, and drenched in grime. But if the game keeps the same intensity, Pigface might end up being one of the most unapologetically gritty shooters of the year.
I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me.
Absolem is a roguelike open-world choose-your-own-adventure beat-em-up made by Dotemu, the developers of Streets of Rage 4. I'm personally not the biggest fan of roguelites, but when there's a story worth telling, I'll give it a try. The game has a beautiful, hand-drawn art style with stylish, impactful, and robust combat. What I think will excite people is choosing which dungeons to fight through. For example, I could have either gone through this mineshaft or into this ancient dwarven hall. I could have fought some goblins or against some humans. This game has a ton of potential from a proven studio. It's only this low on my list because I'm not into roguelites. But you can ride a boar, baby. The Lonesome Guild is a game for my girlfriend, and by that I mean I'm going to play it while she sits on the couch next to me fuming with jealousy because it's single player. It's an isometric party-based ARPG where you play as an extremely cute, cuddly animal warriors fighting against the loneliness mist that is destroying the kingdom. The combat looks a little boring, but playing it was so much fun. The music was phenomenal. I mean, just listen to the title menu. The cel-shaded graphics give it this storybook feel. There's alternative paths to take to find hidden items. You get to fight a giant robot as the first boss. You can swap between characters for a damage boost. You talk to characters and gain friendship points, which in turn unlocks new abilities. This game has the makings of a giant adventure. I can imagine myself playing this on my Switch 2 for hours. It's cute, it sounds great, and most of all, it's fun. There were a few survival action horror games at the Next Fest, like Tormented Souls 2, but this year I found a gross, depressing, and somewhat quirky game, Holston. You're looking for a friend of yours in this amalgamated fungal infected town, but what really got me were the strange characters that inhabited this town. You You got a doctor who caused the incident wanting to kill herself in a bathroom stall. There's a security guard with the mind of a child, and you got a thug who will exchange bullets for cigarettes. What's really cool is the art style. It's an isometric camera using pixels, but when zoomed in it turns 3D, giving such an interesting vibe, and the style changes so seamlessly in real time. I think this game is going to take over the internet in the same way Signalis did when it releases. Dragon March is like if you took a DS game from 2006 and then remastered it. Dragon March is a Centipede clone, where you have to collect your fellow mecha dragons and lead them to safety, dodging traps, turning sharp corners, and running through falling platforms. What really gets this one over the hump for me, though, is the aesthetic. The UI, the cutscenes, the chunky textures, they're all gloriously mid-2000s. Not in a retro pixel art kind of way, but in the this could have been someone's favorite DS game that never left Japan kind of way. It knows what it wants to be, and it commits so hard you can almost hear the cartridge clicking in. I could pretend it's 2006, a time when I didn't have to worry about stuff like paying taxes.
Deja vu, I just been in this place before. Higher on the street, and I know it's my time to go.
Later Skater is a speedrunner's dream, a game about gaining speed, momentum, and finding shortcuts. To finish levels as soon as possible, you can jump, slide, do a jumping slide, jump over walls, jump off of enemies. It's got a great sense of flow, even with my terrible platforming skills. It's a game that really wants you to keep improving your skills in time. It's that late 90s, early 2000s PS2 style where the movement feels clunky, but man, when you know what you're doing, it feels like you're gliding. After playing Paradigm, I have been wanting to get into a point-and-click adventure game, and the Drifter seemed to hit that note perfectly. You play as a homeless drifter coming back for a funeral where all of a sudden a crazy man is gunned down in a blinding light. Later on, you're captured and thrown into the sea with your hands and feet tied, and you die.
But then, every neuron of my brain firing all at once, tearing apart, twisting out in all dimensions, then contracting, speed of light, back into nothing. Sudden icy cold shocks me awake.
This game is about conspiracy theories, but there is also a hidden kindness to the way the character interacts with other people. Our MC can act like a dick to one person, but then talking to another homeless person, you can see the camaraderie and respect both people have. It's gritty, mysterious, and laced with just enough heart to make this dark world feel real. And if the game keeps this balance, the Drifter could be something truly special.
I am a gecko, not to be confused with Geico, which could save you hundreds on car insurance.
Gecko Gods is a simple game. The only puzzles in this game is flipping switches, but what makes this game so special to me is everything around it. The visuals, the fucking commitment that there are gecko gods and that there are sentient geckos that built these temples and prayed to their gods, all the while those same geckos look like this. And they drive boats. What else do you need? The point of this is not about puzzles, but exploration. The game does a great job of making you explore a lot of areas in a short time. I was able to get through this entire island and even dick around in about 30 minutes. It's a calming experience where you get a big chuckle over a little gecko. JRPGs have always been a cozy experience. There's just something soothing about annihilating 200 of the same type of enemy over and over while listening to an amazing soundtrack. Atrus Impact is one of the most soothing JRPGs I've ever played. The game takes place in a hot spring resort where you play as a woman whose style reminds me so much of the manga Tower Dungeon. There are two parts to this game. One is where you chill at the hot springs, eating ice cream, wash your grandma's back, and fight a guy who just really wants to fight. And another part where you go outside and defeat killer robots. And these enemies seem so dark and destructive, it clashes so much with the cozy vibes the rest of this game gives off. You want to chill in this cave? Too bad a polar bear lives there. Need some extra cash? Start an automatic lemonade stand. See this terrifying monster that almost kills you? Now fight 2 of them. I love the way some of these techniques you can learn can just absolutely cleave away at an enemy's health. And when I'm coming back to rewatch my playthrough, I can feel the music jump at me. There's so many small details I love, the DS-like backgrounds, the small little animations that play when you interact with an object. Even the victory dance is awesome. Aethers's Impact has the potential to be something truly special. It just needs the attention.
Can't place that there, my lord. Can't place that there, my lord. Can't place that there, my lord.
Anvil Empires is chaos incarnate.
Does feel like we're overshooting.
It is an MMO RTS. You play as a single foot soldier on one of 2 opposing armies, one sieging a castle and the other defending it. I was on the sieging side, moving catapults, siege ladders, battering rams. You would think this idea wouldn't work due to all the possible chatter, but I was astonished how well some of these guys communicated. But there were times when it got so funny, like with this battering ram.
Right side. Right side. Keep turning. Keep turning. Turn right. Forward now.
This is a good idea.
Turn right.
Gotta open this gate, boys. Protect them.
Backward. Right side. Forward. No. Right side, you go forward. Left side, go backwards. Are you guys fucking real? Clear the ram, guys. Clear the ram. Clear the ram. Let us move. Clear the ram. Fuck off.
Fuck off.
Fuck off. We're lined up. Free the way. Free the way. Free the way. Free the way. Hey, fuck off from front of the ram.
Sometimes there's cohesion, but most of the time it is a giant clusterfuck. One of my favorite moments was spawn camping 5 or 10 naked soldiers in a tower and slaughtering them to the point to where my sword broke. The server still has some issues, but I think this game can really be something, and maybe one of the few multiplayer games I play in the future. Before I get to number 1, I wish to tell you that there were over 2,000 indie games and Stellar Blade at this Next Fest, and it can be difficult to shorten this list to as much as I have, so here are some honorable mentions. There were a lot of different games from this Next Fest. Some games had amazing stories, others had wicked combat, and others had complex, intricate worlds, but Oddly was the simplest game of all, and I think that's important. In Oddly, you have to reach a flag. You do this by rolling, and sometimes your body moves in specific ways that you have to overcome, but it's pretty easy to reach the flag the first time. Then you have to do it again with a second creature, and a third, a fourth, a fifth, sometimes up to 8 different creatures. And you have to be careful not to hit each other, otherwise you have to go back to the previous turn. I wouldn't call Oddly a difficult or complex game, but I wouldn't call something like Tetris, Luminous, or Pushmo complex games either. They're fun, relaxing even. Oddly reminds me a lot of these games. I mean, just look at the way they're bouncing. It's just so soothing and addictive. It's not going to have the replayability of Tetris, I'm not saying that, but that calming effect to pass the time when the world around you is in tatters is there. Escapism isn't the proper solution to dealing with your problems, but it can help you find a better way to deal with life's problems. Games have helped me a lot in life. They gave me a reason to keep going when life seemed pointless, to find new and intriguing stories, gameplay to learn, and puzzles to solve. I love this 1 week every year when I can look into the minds of the world's most passionate, broke weirdos and see their bizarre creations, because it makes me, a fellow weirdo, feel less alone. Have a nice day.